welcome back. This is File New, episode 77. My name is Ryan Selvy, and I'm your host. File New is the weekly web show where we go over designer news, creator news, art news, you name it. The industry is constantly changing. It's hard to keep up. I like to keep up, so I'm here to be your resource to help guide you through all these exciting new updates and changes in the creative world. We focus things on the tech industry and how that influences creators. We talk a little bit about the design programs, the Adobe ecosystem, and how that influences art, creators, design, you name it. Everything's constantly changing, and it's great to have you here. If you guys have different comments, please throw them in the chat. This is a live show on both YouTube and Behance. But I try to make it as digestible and enjoyable for those of you that are watching the replay or listening to the replay. Thank you to Wade a Cuff in the chat for being the moderator, and thank you to everyone here for saying hello. So I won't keep you waiting. Let's go ahead and hop into some news. So our first news of the day is actually some illegal stuff. And this comes from the United States Copyright Office. Basically, they came out and said that if you create art with only generative art, it cannot be copyright written. However, if you create art with different portions of AI generated art, then it can be copywritten. So basically, if you just go and you are a keyboard warrior and you go in and you just type text to image, you can't take that and turn it into some sort of finalized copyrighted pieces of work. Instead, it has to be something like if you're using generative fill or if you're using like different aspects of it and are, referencing the different stuff. This report comes from The Verge, which you guys know I love to report with I love their reporting. And this comes from Lauren Fainer. And it just says human created works with AI elements, however, can still be copyrighted as a whole. Now, I personally feel like this is something that we all kind of expected. They kind of have teetered with it before. But this is the first time that we're getting like actual confirmation with it. Also, later in today's episode, I want to talk about the fact that the Copyright Office also went through a rebrand, which I kind of discovered in the experience of getting the story and figuring out what this seal is. But we'll go over that in a little bit during our rebrand section. Also, just a big hello to everyone that's in the chat, from Ismail to Penny, Apurva, Colby, Clever, Robert, Christelle, Umacorn. Also, hello to everyone over on YouTube chat as well. Give me a nice hello or a thumbs up if you can, just to help out the algorithm. That's super helpful. But moving on to the next thing, you guys know that I love my Blue Sky, and Blue Sky is a alternative to text-based platforms like Threads or X, Mastodon, you name it. However, Blue Sky is built on this protocol called the AT protocol, and the beauty of the AT protocol is the idea that it is not bound to Blue Sky in itself. There can be other things that you create and use the login for on different services and still use it, and you can kind of grab all of your followers, all of the people that you follow, all of your data, and you can seamlessly switch it over onto another service. This was very exciting to see for me over the last week or so. Pinksky happened, and Pinksky is a Instagram competitor, but through the Blue Sky client. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is that I just logged in with my Blue Sky credentials, and it automatically reformatted everything that's in my Blue Sky feed to then mimic and look exactly like Instagram. There are also Pinksky specific posts, but for the most part, it is just pulling things from the AT protocol from Blue Sky and pushing it into a very familiar format, highlighting and focusing on images themselves. And so you can see that this is available if you just go to, pinksky.social. By the way, all these links and everything else is available on the Raindrop, which is where all of the links for today's episodes and previous episodes are available. Now, I'm going to go ahead and boot this up on web for my own, and we are going to log in. I'm going to put it on the other screen just to make sure, because, you know, who knows the people that I follow, you guys. The cool thing that I will also point out here is that it allows you to create temporary passwords. So I didn't have to log in with the same password that I log in with Blue Sky. I was able to take the opportunity to go and create a password-specific password-specific. What is happening? My computer is freaking out on me right now. Password-specific login that then okay, forget it. A password-specific login that then only works for Pinksky. That way, I don't have to give Pinksky my password for Blue Sky, just in case, you know, they turn out to be bad actors. In this case, I do not believe them to be bad actors, but it's always a nice safety thing to do. And it just works so seamlessly when I had it. You know what? Here's what I'll do here, guys. I'm going to pull it up, and we're going to look at it on my phone real quick. And I just want to make sure. It's just there's so much politics stuff going on. I don't want to throw that up on here. But you can see that it's just Instagram, but it's off of the AT protocol. We're going to go and we're going to make myself bigger so you guys can actually see what's going on here. And this is just on Pinksky, you can see. And it just has the same experience as you would otherwise. And I think it's just really cool. And it was seamless. I didn't have to refollow everyone. I didn't have to figure out where the people are that are over. People don't have to even be on Pinksky for it to be it. If they're on Blue Sky, they can be on here, which was really cool. Next news story, though, is some Adobe news, and that is the Adobe Content Authenticity Program, which you guys, I'm sure, have heard about. This is a really cool initiative that's happening from the Adobe, the workers at Adobe, Adobe Corporation. They are working on this open initiative that allows you to see the impacts that are created and work on the different images that are online. What do I mean by that? I mean, like when someone goes and they edit an image, this will have a history to show you the original image and also the modifications, when they were issued, who issued them, you name them. Now, this obviously only works if it has support across a lot of different services, and that's what the exciting news for this week is. If you guys have ever heard of Cloudflare before, they actually are responsible for about 20% of web traffic. This is coming from reporting on imaginative.com from Chris McKay. And Cloudflare added content credentials to track image authenticity. Some of the key points in this article, I'm just going to read them right from the article, said it preserves content credentials on images hosted on its network, ensuring metadata remains intact. And the system tracks ownership, modifications, and whether AI tools were used to alter images. Verification is possible via Adobe's Content Authenticity web tool and Chrome extension, which is just on the Chrome App Store. You go and you click it. I think, yeah, I even have it here. And when you just click it, in this case, it's a little funny because they don't have it on this website, but you'll be able to, as it gets more support, you'll be able to see different things that are related to the content on web pages that you can then verify by going up and clicking on it in your browser, which is really nice. Oliver says, I've heard of Cloudflare. They're kind of a big deal. I know, right? Now, I'm excited to see this get rolled out. I'm excited to see this have more support. I think it's really good for artists. I think that it's something that a lot of people are struggling with and will be good to have more adoption for. And 20% of the internet is a lot of the internet. Also, I see you guys all over on YouTube. Thank you guys for all saying hi. Thank you to Oliver and Clever, Peter, Christelle, Penny, and Colby. Penny, by the way, we are going to show your work a little bit later today. So maybe stick around. And thanks for chatting in the chat. More Adobe news is some Adobe Acrobat news. I'm sure you guys use Adobe Acrobat. It's actually the reason, basically, why Adobe exists. If you did not know, the PDF was something that was kind of a side project for Adobe and then became the main thing. But there were some exciting updates for Adobe Acrobat, and they were talking a lot about contracts and the ability to summarize and find key points of contracts within Adobe using the AI that is in system now. This is really good because it actually turns out that a huge portion of people don't read contracts before signing them. They actually said that according to a contract AI US survey from this year in January, 70% of consumers admit to signing contracts without knowing what's in them. And this is a way to look over everything and find things that might be standing out. Maybe this is for small business owners. And this is something that obviously, if you do this, as with anything with AI, you're going to want to double check it. But it might help a lot to then just go in and see if there's anything that's worth flagging that pops up already, and then you can go in and just make sure. Because we're not all lawyers. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know legalese. But it is nice to be able to have a second eye on it rather than just kind of doing my kind of ease of being able to skim it. Operva says, aren't contracts created such that no one reads them? Yes, and that is, I mean, that's not why, but that is more of a reason why you should check out this. It's within your Creative Cloud subscription, and it is part of the AI assistant that is reading and contextualizing different things for your work and the things that you have. King Ren says, ouch. Yeah, no, I feel it. Also, thank you, Imicorn, for saying hello over on YouTube. Welcome back, Jack. Good to have you here. We are just going over some Adobe news, but now, next up, we have TikTok news. Yay. All right, we're going to keep this short because I'm so tired of reporting on this. We're on episode 77. We've probably done like 30 or 40 episodes with this same story. TikTok, is it going to be gone? Is it going to come back? Who knows? Basically, the administration in charge right now created a new wealth fund that might be able to buy it, might be saved. Okay, cool. Look into it if you want to. But with some ripples of that, one of the things is a lot of other companies are kind of responding to the fact that we don't know the future of TikTok. We don't know what it's going to look like either, if it's going to be legal, if the platform's going to change, if the algorithm's going to change, you name it. A bunch of other people are hopping on this. We've been talking about it a lot. But one of the more interesting takeaways recently reported on by Fast Company, this comes by Eve Upton Clark, says LinkedIn's bet on TikTok-style video is paying off in a big way. Now, you don't normally think of doom scrolling or kind of entertainment or goofy videos on LinkedIn, but apparently short-form video is now the fastest-growing category on LinkedIn, growing at twice the rate of other post formats on the platform. According to LinkedIn, total video viewership surged 36% in the first quarter of 2025. So if you're creating short-form video and you're thinking about places to post it, especially educational formats, I know a lot of designers, a lot of creators, a lot of illustrators are creating these like what to do in Illustrator, what to do with Photoshop, how I connect Fresco and Photoshop together, and you're posting it on Instagram. Instagram's algorithm is in itself changing, and the reach is changing. LinkedIn might be a really good place for you to kind of capitalize on this new push that they have. Yeah, it says, for users looking to capitalize on the video push, LinkedIn has also launched nano learning courses on topics including video hooks, editing, repurposing content, and LinkedIn Live. So this is all just something for you to check out, but it is apparently doing really well. And I am not a big LinkedIn user myself, but it is something to just make sure you know where the views are coming from. So, yeah. Also, along those lines, Snapchat has apparently seen a big surge in users again. Snapchat's this funny service that just doesn't die. I'm not rooting for it to die, but I could have sworn it was going to be done forever ago. And also in some other really sad news with the Los Angeles fires, Evan Spiegel, the CEO, their dad's house actually burned down, and that's where Snapchat started. They posted a bunch of pictures and were showing how like this is where Snapchat came from, and now it's burned to the ground, which is super sad. But Evan went on record and said, we're not trying to draw too many conclusions from some of the engagement lift we saw when TikTok went dark for that brief period of time. I would say that the overall environment of uncertainty is benefiting our business. Now, it's very interesting because Snapchat is something that I thought would go away, but apparently it's really increasing in popularity. I don't know about you guys, but I am also experiencing a lot of push notifications now from Snapchat. I feel like my friends are back on Snapchat in ways that I was not anticipating. Are you guys on Snapchat? I'm going to start actually a poll in the YouTube chat and just ask, are you on Snapchat? And let me know. And I'd be interested of the viewers who is actively on Snapchat and who is not. And if that's another place where you should think about posting content, or maybe it's just where your friends are. Oliver said, I suddenly started getting notifications from Snapchat again the other day from people who'd not been there in ages. Jack is also commenting on the LinkedIn story and saying, LinkedIn has just too many robo messages. I don't like the advertisement direct messages I get. Umacorn is saying, I'm not on Snapchat. Penny says, Snapchat always felt too young for me. Oliver says he's on everything. Stoney says not on Snapchat. Yeah, so I definitely feel like it has a young air to it in the same way that TikTok feels young. But it's interesting to see them kind of go back and forth. I know it's a quick turnaround, but already we have 7 votes on YouTube, and 71% of you say no, not on Snapchat, and 29% say yes. But that's switching up. So I'm going to leave that live as we hop into this next story, and we'll come back in just a little bit. Speaking of different services copying other services, and, you know, when there is this competition, I'm always really happy. I am a fan of Blue Sky. You guys know that. But Threads is obviously another competitor in that same exact space. Vinny's asking real quick, do you have a Facebook? I have a Facebook. I've not touched it in years. I get on and I never know what's going on there, and I hop right back off. But I do know it's big, especially in other countries. This reporting comes from 9 to 5 Mac, from Felipe Esposito, and it says that Threads now lets users share their custom feeds with others. Last year, they introduced significant enhancements to the Threads timeline as users gained the option to create custom feeds and choose which feeds they wanted to see by default. But now, Meta is announcing another new feature on Threads, the ability to share custom feeds with others. So you can create these feeds, you can create them to be public, and you can share them. I think as a creator, this could be really beneficial in the same way that there are starter packs on Blue Sky. This is an easy way that you can create a feed and say, okay, these are all the feed content from creators that we have on our podcast. These are all of the designers we have in our studio. These are all the news outlets that we follow for design news, and then share those feeds so that then you can see. You can see here that in the example under Miri Kit Cooks, there is one for Top Eats. It has two topics and 73 profiles. Daily Brew that has 8 topics and 126 profiles. So you can attach it also for, they don't call them hashtags, they call them topics, but you can have them follow different topics. You can have them follow different users. So it can really be something that you can all focus on and kind of amplify a group of people or a topic or a discussion, and then have your followers also check it out. This is rechanging the way that we're interacting with social networks, but it also continues to really change with this new update called Tapestry. Tapestry is a new service that is available to link all of your services and put them all side by side in chronological order. So it says the web your way. Tapestry combines posts from your favorite social media services like Blue Sky, Mastodon, Tumblr, and other RSS feeds, podcasts, YouTube channels, and more. All of your content presented in chronological order with no algorithm deciding what you should or shouldn't see. This is something that a lot of people are constantly asking for. I like Blue Sky a lot for that exact reason, because I have the capability to turn on and off the chronological feed. But this in particular is a service that takes everything and then feeds it all to yourself. They have different things that you can tag with spoilers to make sure that you don't have. You can filter through politics, keywords, and it's fully accessible. It is a freemium app, so it's free, but then it has some premium features that you can get. It's available right now on iOS. I don't believe it is available right now on Android, but it is, just like everything else, changing the way that we interact with these social services, and might be something that you might be interested in. All right, so we've had the Snapchat poll up for just a little bit. Robert's on Behance saying, I am Snapchat. I've been on there for 10 years, which I can't believe that is a real sentence, because that is so wild to think about. Snapchat's been around for 10 years, but that totally makes sense. And I'm going to go end the poll. And it says 73% of you said that no, you're not on Snapchat, whereas 27% of you said yes over on YouTube, which, that's just a wild kind of, I don't know, a larger number than I thought it would be. But nonetheless. And then in our last pseudo news story of the day, oh no, we have two more actually. One is that Motion North is going on. I found this out through Matt Voice, or Voice. I don't know how he pronounces it. I should know because I've had him on the show before. But it is a 10 speakers, 3 rooms conference with workshops, drinks, food, and connections happening right now over in the UK. I don't know if they will have things that are available as replays or videos, but something to watch. And interesting to see, because I'm sure a lot of the creators that are doing it are going to also post about it. So you might want to follow them on social surfaces and see what's up. And then speaking of motion people, the Motion Boys had a show this morning about shifting your perspective. And this is with Evan Abrams and Kyle Hamrick. They are the ones to stream first on Wednesdays. They stream every Wednesdays. And they filmed a little promo for us. So let's check it out.
Hey folks, Kyle here from Motion Design Hotline. Today, Evan and I are talking about perspective shifting transitions in After Effects. We've got techniques exploring a 2D sort of faux perspective change right here on an object. And we're also exploring some 3D techniques where we totally shift what we're even looking at. We were live earlier this morning, but you can always catch us on the rewatch or check out motiondesignhotline.com to see all the past episodes, plus project files and other cool stuff.
Kind of love them. And very cool stuff to see. I mean, especially with kind of like the idea of faux 3D and real 3D. I think it's a look and a feel that everyone's really interested in. So if it's something that you would like to add to your workflow, or you just want to see how it's done, make sure you go check it out. It's available in the Raindrop. It's also available on the Adobe Live profile over on YouTube, alongside all the other replays for a bunch of different stuff. Now, Jack is saying Motion Design's Hotline subtitle was fudge, if anyone was there in the chat for that, which I would love to explore what that means. And I guess I'm just going to have to watch. But let's go and hop into our next segment, which is Font of the Week. I'm having a lot of fun not picking a singular font of the week, but instead giving it up to you guys. The last 2 weeks we've voted on it, and then a clear winner has always come up. But I thought we would just go through the 3 ones that I've picked out, and we can talk about which one is your favorite and one we can deem as font of the week. The first one here is Liquida. Now, this is the most liquid typeface from I don't know how to say the font name, so I'm going to actually just pull it up, and then you guys can see if I am absolutely killing it or not. But it's a extremely ambitious-looking one. It's from Resistenza. It's designed by Giuseppe Salerno and Paco Gonzalez. It is exactly how you see it. It won't have this like 3D element of light and shadow to it, but it will have this very crazy typeface where all of the type is as if you took a squirter bottle and like ketchup bottle and you turned it into a typeface as best you could. We're going to go ahead and put file new as it, because that's always a good test. And you can see here that obviously while you create it, it is very flat. But as with any other thing in Photoshop or Illustrator, you can always go in and add like a bevel and emboss. That'll help to kind of give that idea here. If I pull this up and create some more depth, I adjust the sizing of it a little bit. We can soften the edges. You can see that it kind of starts to formulate, between feeling very flat and feeling like actual liquid. You can always play with the gloss contour, which will also radically change kind of the shadows. You can change how strong it is, the angle, if you want to use global light or not, so that it matches if you use the typeface in something else. You can change the shadow mode with the color. In this case, we have it set to a purple, which fits very well with the purple background, but you might want to switch it out to something else. And then you can see that that is a live adjustment. So if I change this to Ryan, it's still going to have the entire thing. It is, like I said, extremely stylized. So you would never use this for body copy, or at least I would hope you would never use this as body copy. But it is something that is very fun and unique. I don't know any other ones that are available on Typekit that look like this, but that is the very first one, and it is called Liquida. And I want to look in the chat and see what you guys are saying about it, just because it is wacky. Stoney's saying this font reminds me of Mickey Paint program that my kiddo had. Apurva saying it's great for ghoul movies. Yes, all agreed. All of these. Stoney says same as my name without a space. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if that is related to this or not, but we can definitely go in here and I can write out Stoney. And look, that looks cool. I think another thing that I like about it is I just like the stylized choice of cursive that they have. I kind of wish that it also was available as non-curvy. Like if this was just kind of a single weight stroke font, I would be really into it. But, you know, I think it'd be really cool. The next one we have is Fractal Variable, and this feels German to me. It's a geometric sans with architectural qualities. It has some curves and some really harsh 90-degree cuts that become corners. You can see here in the ascender of the A that it is a 90-degree angle. You can also see the curvature of the L, and the T at the bottom are very, very strong, jagged 90-degree angles, whereas when you look at the U, it is still curved, and everything still manages somehow to feel very cohesive, even though they're really fighting each other. This also could be both a headline font and also a body font, because it is a variable font. It comes from the team at Adam Ladd Design. He's just one designer, Adam Ladd. And the way that they have it advertised on the Adobe Fonts website is, you know, the kind of streetwear store. They have this very like Bauhaus. To me, it just reads so German for me for some reason. And it's beautiful. It says that it's architectural geometric sans serif, dramatically modern because of the larger X height with a more distinct and avant-garde voice, most evident in characters where specific strokes have been straightened for a strongly angular appearance. The family is feature-rich with all the typographic niceties designers have come to expect. Here's a tip. Because Connect is where Fractal began, it works perfectly as a more subdued partner. So you can see here that we can type file new out in Fractal, and that's spelled F-A-R-A, so F-R-A-C-T-U-L for anyone that is listening. And since it is a variable, we have the ability to really adjust any of the weight. We can start with like very bold, but then you can then bring it down and up, and it will change accordingly. And it just reads really well. I think sometimes like the L to the E here is a little weird. But like, what if we made that like a capital? That's even weirder, you know? So uppercase and lowercase. Let's do everything lowercase and see what that looks like. That looks pretty cool. It's just the harsh of the F and the L here looks really cool, how they kind of mirror each other. But then when you have a word like new, it doesn't necessarily have the harsh cut anywhere. So then kind of this also feels a little bit out of place. So I think it focuses on the specific words that you're going to be using, and you're going to have to be really aware of the content that you're creating. And then our third option is kind of what to me feels like a brewer's font. It feels like something that would be on a coffee packaging or something, and this is called Rotulo Variable. It's another variable font. This is from the Huy fonts, which is H-U-Y exclamation point fonts, and this is from Juanjo Lopez, which might be Juanjo, and it's a variable font, has 90 styles as a variable. They say that it is a contrasted sans family, which combines the thick and thin sign painter style and some 70s feeling in a huge font family with 90 styles. A visit to an exposition of Spanish movie posters by Jano was the beginning of Rotulo, which is the Spanish word for sign project. Classic thick and thin sign painter style was featured in many letterings of those posters, as it is very common style in the 60s and 70s Spanish design. Unfortunately, today, very few contrasted sans are seen. Something that was quite common years ago has fallen into disuse in favor of Helvetic monotony, they say. Rotulo recaptures all that personality with the extensive range of weights and widths to be used in the striking headlines and short text. So, once again, as I said, probably not a body font, but always kind of cool to see. And, you know, I love my headline fonts. So if we're going to do the same thing as we've done with all the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and take Rotulo Variable. We'll just take that's all compressed. Let's do Rotulo Variable Regular. And I'm going to write out File New. And you'll see that it can feel kind of very similar to kind of like a Myriad or something, which, you know, is the Apple font. But you can also make it feel a little bit heavier. And then I think that's when it kind of really starts to shine, is in the heavier sides and the fonts of it. But yeah, so these are our 3 fonts of the week. I'm going to go ahead and create a new poll in the YouTube chat. We'll call it Font of the Week. And I'm going to give you guys the 3 options of Liquida, Fractal, and Rotulo. And I'm going to start that poll. And you guys go ahead and vote on what you think is the font of the week, because I have my favorite, but I would love to know what you think. Oliver's saying File New looks good in the Rotulo fat. Penny said I voted. Stoney's also saying that Rotulo would probably look like jars of sauce. Yes, I would agree. That feels very saucy to me. But as that is going on, we can come and revisit that in just a few. But I want to make sure we get through everything. So let's go and hop over to the next segment, which is very helpful, called Resources. So I know we talked a little bit about Motion North, but that's kind of inaccessible to a lot of people. Design Prom is a online event that is actually free and has a lot of my favorites in here. It says your design future is calling, and it is from February 12th to February 14th. They have a bunch of different speakers that you can sign up and you can see their talks, and it is free. I found out about this through James Barnard, good friend of the show. It's always funny to say. But it says it's the digital summit for web and graphic designers ready to build epic futures. Get your corsages and creativity ready, because Design Prom is here. It's not your typical summit. It's the digital gathering for web and graphic designers who are looking to set their futures on fire in the good way. There are 20-plus expert speakers, 16,000 attendees from 150 countries, and they say thousands of lives changed. To get your ticket, all you have to do is give your name and email. And there's just some really big names here, like Aaron Droplin, Meg Lewis. Will Patterson's here. I didn't even realize that. The folks from Good Type, Katie and Alana are here. Hey, we have Kelsey Slay, who, these are a bunch of familiar faces that you guys all know, are very reliable and fantastic. They have great web presences. They have great design backgrounds. And it's just a really good time to go to prom. So get your tuxes out, and I would love to see everybody's fits or dresses as they get ready for the Design Prom. Penny says, I did see an ad for Design Prom, and it looked fun. And I'd be interested if anyone ends up being able to go. Speaking of James Barnard, I wanted to highlight one of his posts that he recently put out, and it's all about Myriad, which I know we mentioned a second ago. And this is all about Illustrator and being able to switch out the default font for when you create something. So he says, if you haven't used, the AIT file before, then you might just change your workflow. An AIT file is an Adobe Illustrator template. When you press Command or Control S to save it as an AIT, it defaults to an AI file, so it never gets overwritten, and you can store all kinds of things in here to speed up your workflow, including custom color swatches, default for fonts and graphic styles, artboard layouts, and styles. The cool thing here is it's switching out Myriad, which is going to be the default when you created something else. All you have to do is open up the character styles and hit the hamburger menu in the top right. Then go to character style options, and under basic character formats, you can change the font family from Myriad Pro to a list of other ones that are in your Illustrator file. Of course, he says when you restart Illustrator, it just reverts back, but you could save over the new document profiles on your hard drive, or to save the default font for each of these templates. So what you want to do is you want to save it as an AIT, and then whenever you start from that AIT file, you're going to be able to get those things. So it's a bit of a workaround. Depends on how you want to set up your own files, but especially if you're working with a client, you always want them to start with this specific typeface, and you know that they are going to probably try to hop into the file and do things themselves. This could be a really good safeguard to be able to make sure that as they create new things, that it is constantly creating new formats and type in the specific type that you're supposed to have, which is just, a nice, simple, and easy approach, but, very valuable nonetheless. In our next resource, it's actually an article from Creative Boom. You guys know I love Creative Boom. It says the buzzwords creatives are ditching in 2025 and what to say instead. Buzzwords have always been kind of the bane of my existence. It always kind of kills me in agency talk. And it's interesting to see some of the ones here that, I don't feel like I necessarily hear as much, but one of the big ones, which I definitely have heard, is purpose-led. They say, by the way, this is coming from the writer Abby Bamford for Creative Boom. Says purpose-led is what does that even mean? Of course everything is purpose-led. Now this says that she argues that all companies should have a purpose, and if they don't, they probably are not going to last too long. So they just use the word purposeful, but it can be whatever. Strategy is another big one. Premium is another one. Sustainability, bring the energy. Brave or fearless. Oh, brave or fearless kills me. Empowerment, authentic also kills me. Culture kills me. Storytelling's been around for way too long. That also kills me. These are words that they technically mean things, but people now use them as such of a umbrella blanket term that they kind of have lost a lot of their meaning. Another one that I would group in with probably culture or storytelling that isn't on this list would be community. Community is a C-letter word that I can't. I feel like I probably even say it, but when everyone's always like, join the community, build a community. I love this community that we've built. I'm like, what are you saying? What is happening? Way to saying content kills me. Yes, content creator is a hard one. So would love to see people stop using buzzwords. It makes you sound professional. I get it, but it also makes you sound a little bit too vanilla with everything else. So just be aware of the language you use and kind of what it puts forward. But, maybe you need to take a breath. We all need to take a breath. The world right now can be a lot to take in from the ever-changing landscape and just also the social media moving so fast. Opera Air is providing a solution of sorts for a browser that has mindfulness in mind. So there's no subscriptions or app juggling. It says, discover a focused, balanced, and stress-free web. It's an early access, so I'm sure there's probably different bugs here. But at its core, it has different exercises and mindful breaks for you to be able to click through and just kind of have pop up and go on top of your work. It can give you different sound vibrations so that then you can listen to the sound and hopefully be more productive. It all has the ad blocker and VPN and stuff with things that you would kind of expect from browsers. But I think it's just interesting to see a browser and the relationship with the internet, because the internet can be so stressful that there is now a service that is specifically just a browser that is trying to get you to calm down, where you are still existing online, because online's giving you stress, but you still have to be there for maybe work or for social or you name it. But let's go and check in on the font of the week. Now, it's been open for about 8 minutes, and as it stands right now, with 60% of the vote, 60, Rotulo seems like it is currently winning. Fractal and Liquida are both tied for second. But it just switched. Liquida just got another vote. So Rotulo is now down to 55%. So I feel like with that, we probably are not done. So I say we hop into the next segment, and we then still come back from font of the week maybe after that, because that will probably be very enlightening for how you guys feel about typefaces, because a lot of the rebrand that we were talking about has interesting typeface choices. So let's hop into rebrand. So we're pulling a lot from Brand New. You guys know I like Brand New. They're a fantastic publication that really highlights a lot of the updated and changing brands of the world. They do really great write-ups. They have a paid subscription, which I definitely, as Ryan Selvy and not Adobe, definitely endorse, and say that it's really, really good and it's great to keep up to date. But the one that really caught my eye from this week is Edge. You guys are probably familiar with Edge, a shaving cream or like men's products. I believe it might even be women's products too, but I, as I guess a man that's using shaving cream, although I haven't used shaving cream in a while, I definitely have like associated this idea of their brand in my mind, and it has this italicized edge, which feels like metallic-y and like kind of like 90s like electro vibe. They just recently did an update, and they are rebranding with a very like more matte finish feel. It feels way more mature, feels more luxury, and the typeface is pretty similar for the most part. It's kind of just less italicized. The descender of the G has been cleaned up to then kind of mimic the E, so it kind of feels like a flip. But where it really stands out for me is just this focus on thick and thin with a little whoop. Oh, sorry. The cat's on my lap, and that just scared the cat. But a whoop that is, I don't know, very reminiscent of a lot of other typefaces that we're seeing. I think that this is a strong direction for them. I think it's very strong. We have here, provided by the Brand New folks, that they have the before and the after. They changed the bottle design. They changed the imagery that's on there. It doesn't have a visualization of this like neon blue metallic gel that's coming out. It got rid of some of these like caution things on the front that make it feel like an aerosol can. It is really kind of making the smaller type here sans serif legible at small sizes, because before it was this serif that had thick and thins that was a little bit too similar to the logo itself. But very cool, very strong. I give it a thumbs up. How do you guys feel about it? You guys like Edge? King Ren is saying cat visit here too. Yes. I was wondering if he's going to get up at any point and make a appearance on screen, but we will see. Oliver's never heard of this brand. Stoney thinks that the old one was more exciting, and Clever's saying that Edge is ubiquitous in the US, and Umacorn thinks that it is cleaner. Penny is saying that it looks kind of similar to The Godfather, and Wade is also agreeing. So wait, let's look at it real quick of a Godfather poster. And I mean, is that the worst thing to also have tied to like The Godfather is like one of the most revered movies in cinematic history, right? Like, yeah, I could see that. Godfather. Yeah. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Next up, we have Up&Up, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with outside of the country. Again, it is the standardized packaging for the generics at Target. And not too much has changed here. Just kind of a refinement, similar to kind of the Walmart rebrand that we had. They updated the typeface and moved it to the bottom, which really helps from a scalability sense. They also reflected that new type with the new type on the packaging. Up&Up has always been pretty clean and nice, but I think this just takes it to another level. They're really focusing on this color palette that is, what would you guys say this color palette is? Like, I always kind of think of it as like goldfish almost, even when there is no orange in it. Like, it feels like this like goldfish style, like aquarium. Yeah, I guess like aquarium. It feels like very aquatic. And they're kind of going on leaning into that more, but still the hues and the saturations that are visible mostly on screen, that can use for branding, and just really focusing in big letters like what the thing is, and then in the bottom left always being able to be like, okay, this is Up&Up. I think it's a really strong update. The Up&Up scalability is much better, because before, when it was in the arrow, when you made it too tiny, you lost the Up&Up and it was just like an arrow. So I definitely think that this is a important and strong update. Purvis saying, can we say pastelly? Yeah, kind of pastelly. Jack saying preschool mom aesthetic. It's also a good one. But very clean. And McCorn saying very clean. And I really like. And we only have a few minutes left, so let's go and quick look at Sweep. I don't know what Sweep was before this. This was just reported on by Brand New. And it's a logo identity by Ivan Kamelevsky. And the thing that really attracted me about this is that they actually have an updated website as well. And you can see here, I picked this one up because it also felt very similar to Edge with the little whoopas. I really need to get better, conversation for it here, or terminology. But if you go just to their site, you can see that there is this beautiful kind of fire build up with it, and I think it just really feels strong and loud. It works well with some really nice typefaces. I think this showing the colors with this fire animation is really cool. I've never seen that before. It pairs well with a nice serif. So they have a sharp sans serif, but it matches well with this approachable humanist kind of serif. And I think it's just really nice. And then I said we would talk about it one more time. The Copyright United States Copyright Office has this new updated branding as of January 1st. Looks really weird. I don't think the C personally works well in that circle next to the other like slab serif of the rest of it. But it is interesting and kind of cool to see like a sleeker approach to a government option. It's been around since January 1st. I mean, they also are still using this one, which I still think this is much better. I kind of like it when the government agencies have the serif fonts, but rather than like this slab serif, which feels a little bit less professional. But I guess copyright's supposed to kind of be goofy and fun and weird, so, what can you do? But it also can be used just as like this little small signa as well, where it's just the C. Which I don't know. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't necessarily just have it with the C and the circle around it in the center, because that's how when you copyright things, it's kind of there. But maybe they want to be different from the main takeaway. I'm not entirely sure. Stoney says, yeah, I don't like that C. The top of the C has a bad tangent. Oh, yeah, okay. It has an underbite, which is funny and strange to see with a C, and now I will never not be able to see it, especially when there's no like underbite anywhere else here. Like, it's not even like the T here has an underbite. And the tangent of just it kind of connecting with this side of the circle is a very good call out, but I digress. All right, I feel like we probably have landed at the font of the week. Oh, wow, Oliver's saying do not like it, 1 star. Penny's laughing at underbite. But it seems like our winner of font of the week is Rotulo with 53% of the font, 53% of the vote. Fractal came in second with 26%, and Liquida came in with 20% of the vote in last place. So yeah, all right, Rotulo, guys, font of the week. Don't you forget it, as voted on by you. We only have a few minutes left here, so we should go ahead and hop on into Spotlight. This is a great time to talk about Spotlight, because the Spotlight here on Penny Doodles is important because Penny Doodles actually used the type of the font that we had last week which was Dickens' Tale script, and posted this awesome update with a design that they created. So I really like the way these turned out. I am personally a advocate of the black and white, so I like the black and white kind of negative the best, especially with this gray, but I do think that the blue kind of resonates better maybe with the image. I think this is a really good use case of the typeface in particular, especially with like the G of the goodbye and using the glyph of the Y that goes under both the B and the E, the T that goes over, you know, the N, E, and R. I think it's good font pairing. I like the kind of the cut-ins with these this typeface that you're mixing it with. Oh, that's embarrassing. You can kind of see my own little comment right here. But that is Penny Peanut Butter on Instagram. Very, very cool. I'd love to see stuff like this. If you guys end up creating things with Font of the Week, or if you get anything that is inspired, please let me know. I would love to feature it on the show. And it's just really great to see this. So thank you very much, Penny, for creating that. Thank you for sharing it. All of the above. You name it. And then also, if you guys are looking for something to do, I was been as like a stress relief, been doing these like Lego flowers. But apparently, Van Gogh sunflowers are now a Lego set. So if you're familiar with Van Gogh's sunflower era, he painted a lot of sunflowers, and many of them are very, very famous. But this is one of the most famous ones. Lego has started kind of creating these Lego sets that are based off of fine artworks. There's also one, I believe, for Starry, Starry Night. And the one that I like for the Starry, Starry Night is they also give you a little tiny Van Gogh himself to kind of like paint it. And this one's more 3D. As far as this one goes, it feels way more flat aside from the kind of like the flowers that are coming out. But it is interesting to see these kind of all be kind of created. The Great Wave was also released as a Lego set itself. There's a Mona Lisa. There's also 3D ones of like, you know, famous architectural things. But this was reported on ArtNet by Sarah Cascone. Let me know if any of you guys get it. And if you do, could you please take a picture of it for me? I would love to see how it turns out. I also want to see how big it is. I have no sense of scale here, just with how it is, you know. I don't know if it's like bigger than my head or if it's like, you know, bigger than my torso. Everything is in relation to me. And then one last thing we have is hyperlinks. We keep talking about TikTok getting banned, so let's talk about WikiTok instead. And it's exactly what you think it is. It is a TikTok-style interface for exploring random Wikipedia articles made by Ease K Music. And all you do is you go into it. It's just wikitalk.versal.app. And as you scroll down, it'll just give you new things to read. So if we go and we go to Rich Relations, we click it, then we can learn about a 1937 film that was an American comedy, and it was directed by Clifford Sanford. So just if you're like looking to learn random things, it's on Wikipedia, so I don't think you're going to run into anything that's like too inappropriate or anything. So it's always like kind of a good thing that you can always just cycle through. But it's just a fun way of, once again, taking something that exists already in one format and then kind of reapproaching it with this new format of swiping, because we're all just stuck in a constant swipe doom scroll of itself. But I digress. Thank you guys all for being around. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for voting on Font of the Week. Once again, the Font of the Week this week is Rotulo, available on the Creative Cloud. You can find all of these links and more for previous episodes and this episode all on the Raindrop. Next week, we will not actually have a file new. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll be on Adobe Live next week, I think even during this time. But we've got something going on next week on Wednesday, so there will be a week off of file new, but then we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thank you guys all for being here. Follow me on Blue Sky. I'm RyanSelvy.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm just Ryan Selvy. You can find everything for me at just www.ryanselvy.com. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you to Wade for being an awesome moderator, as always. And stay tuned, because we've got Office Hours coming up next with Andrew Hockrottle and Nick Longo. And they've got some real fun stuff planned for you. So thanks for watching. I'll see y'all soon.